Alright everybody, today I wanted to talk about trying to get our fingers to do some chord changes. Some of the most important things are how you sit when you first learn. I know we see Angus Young from AC/DC and different bands, playing with the guitars behind their head and spinning around on the floor. But when you first start learning, it's like driving a car. You have to have your hands a certain way, and then you learn to drive comfortably and you drive with one hand on the wheel or whatever it is you're doing, coffee in one hand, you're drinking your coffee and you're driving with one hand. Don't do that. I mean, it's not a good thing to do, but just an analogy about guitaring, we want to mold our hand to the guitar. So a great exercise that I came up with, first of all, I wanted to talk about how you sit. Sitting's important. I see a lot of students. I've been teaching now for over 20 years here at our own facility here. And we got over 200 students. Why? Because they stay, because we get them playing and they get to have fun and they're starting to learn and they get through rhythms. So I wanted to start doing videos to try to reach more people that aren't close by the school here. Basically, I'd like you, to try to sit right. It can feel uncomfortable when you first do it, but I mean, if you don't have a footstool, I got a footstool right now. I don't use one too much anymore. But when I first started playing, I did, and my teacher said to me, why do you sit like that? You need a footstool. And I was like, well, it feels so uncomfortable, but it doesn't really. If you set it up so your footstool is high enough, and get a good one, you know what I mean? Go out, they're about 20 bucks or whatever, and get a good one, and then it props your leg up so that the body sits in your guitar. And it doesn't, you don't lose it like this. It's not swinging away from you. You're pushing here and it's getting away from you. You want to keep your arm on the body of the guitar and have this angle like mine. Holding a pick is a whole other deal too. We'll talk about that in another video. I wouldn't hold a pick with two fingers like that. I would never hold my pick like that. I would hold my pick, it goes more on your side of your finger like this. Sits in front of your fingernail, your thumb comes, and most people, I try to get them to bend their knuckle not like this, but more like that, so we see our knuckle. And hold it nice and, not too tight, not too loose. You don't want to squeeze too much because then you'll get a sore arm. We'll talk more about pick technique in another video as well. And when you strum, you don't want to strum with your arm. So everything you're teaching yourself becomes muscle memory. So the more you do things wrong, the longer it's going to take to fix it. So try to strum with your wrist. There's a lot of arguments about why you need to strum with your wrist, and we see guys doing this, and we'll talk about that in some other videos. But for today, I just wanted to get you guys who just got guitars started on working on dexterity with your hand. So first thing you want to do is put your sit properly like we were talking about. Have your angle this way. Keep your hand, sometimes I see people with their pick like this. You want to kind of keep your hand straight with your arm and learn to just move your wrist. It's almost like wiping the sweat off your forehead after working in the garden on a hot sunny day. You get this kind of movement, you're all sweaty and you go like that. So it's sort of the same idea when we strum. We don't strum like this. We don't strum with our wrist and our arm. I mean, you can when you're looking cool live and you want to do shows and stuff, but when we're learning, let's learn properly so that we can look cool later and still sound great. So the first exercise is put your thumb on the back of the guitar, and what I usually do is never put the tip of your thumb on the back of the guitar, put the pad of your thumb on the back of the guitar. And have a nice relaxed wrist and relaxed arm, and push your wrist forward and curl your fingertips into what we call the fret wires. Not into the fret wires, but into the fret, I mean. And if we don't know what a fret is, then I'll go over that quickly. This is called the nut, and this is called the fret wire, the shiny wire you see here. And in between the nut and the fret wire is the whole fret, this whole piece of wood there. And the whole thing is a fret. Sometimes I get students that think, oh, just this piece is the first fret, that's the second fret. No, this is the first fret, this is the second fret, third fret, fourth fret, and so on. You can't see it now with my GoPro because I want to get a close-up on the left hand. So what we're going to do now is put our thumb on the pad of our thumb, which is this part, the pad of our thumb, not the tip. And we're going to have a nice relaxed hand, and we're going to push our wrist forward, and we're going to curl our fingertips so that finger 1's over fret 1, finger 2's over fret 2, and 3's over fret 3. Now, if you feel like your guitar's running away, not your car, your car's running away. If you feel like your guitar's running away, it's early in the morning. I got up at 5 to come here and start getting some more videos done because I'm so busy all day teaching and doing repairs and other things, but whatever, it's all good. So basically I'm on the tip of my finger here, and I'm noticing that this looks like a backward C shape if you look at my hand like this. So we want to get that, and we want to see a nice cup in our hand, and we should always get a pen or a pencil between our hand and the neck. It's going to feel weird at first. If you find you're pushing down hard on the guitar and you're getting, you know, this kind of sound and you're pushing really hard, well, it's because you don't have calluses yet. And we have to build our calluses up. Once we build our calluses up, then when we touch a string, look, I hardly push and I get a sound. But what happens is the string gets stuck in between. You can see my skin here, how it's got dents in it. But because it's calloused, it's hard skin, so it keeps the string ringing. When we don't have calluses and we're playing and just starting out, the string ends up sitting in between the skin and then gets muted. Not only that, we got nerves in our fingertips, so it can kind of hurt when you're first learning. So my recommendation is to make sure you get a good guitar. Don't, you know, sometimes when you buy guitars, look for the action. You don't want strings that are way out here and you got to push really hard. That's called action, how close the string is to the fretboard. And you could get an electric too. They're a lot easier to press down on. But like I said, get a good brand new one so that the neck's not warped, because you got to watch what you're looking for. You can get warped necks and all kinds of stuff when you buy used stuff. And so, yeah, you know, a good beginner electric's about $200, maybe $300, get you started. And they're nice guitars. Go to a music shop. If you have an instructor somewhere close by that you feels really good and is trying very hard to get you playing, you might want to see him too. It's always good to have one-on-one classes, and especially for kids, adults. We have all ages here. They watch my videos and they come in for lessons, so they get a lot of stuff. It's great because there's so much to learn. So we put our thumb on the back of the guitar neck, and we keep a nice relaxed hand, and we just use our arm and we push our wrist forward. And we can see that in my wrist we got a little bit, you know, our wrist joint here is bent. We don't want to kill it so that we're cutting the blood flow off our vein, but at the same time we don't want it way back here and we can't get on to our fingertips on the string. So this first exercise would be put your thumb on the back and lightly push your hand forward and curl your fingers into the frets. Now what's going to happen is your fingers are going to want to do this, or they're going to want to do that, or they're not going to all sit nice, and that's okay. It's practice and training them. You got to train them to do what you want. It's not just going to happen right away. I would suggest do this 10 minutes a day. I'm going to have lots more chord changes. There's tons of other ideas. This is just a really starter lesson. And we'll talk about moving from D's to G's and D's to C's and how to get your fingers to do it, because I see lots of stuff online. But none of the exercises like what I've come up with that seem to help everybody over the past 20 years, and they're all playing and having a great time doing it. So let's get started here. So basically I would start with my finger 3. This is finger 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'd start finger 3 on the 3rd fret, 1st fret, 2nd fret, 3rd fret. And we put it there, and it's going to feel weird, and if you're not sitting right, your guitar's you're going to try to push, and your guitar's, so make sure that you can lock your guitar. And a lot of times I sit with my legs crossed just because it really locks my guitar in here. And you know, if you have your arm just sitting so it's like this and holding the body, it really helps it from getting away from you. And then what you want to do is notice that my knuckle is up nice and straight. We want to keep that nice and straight, because if we're on string 2, just per se, we're not going to do that today, but if I'm on string 2 and I'm not pressing straight, I check the bottom string. Is the bottom string the first string? I'm on string 2, but I want to hear, okay, the first string's ringing, so I'm up in a good spot. But just a little bit of movement like this, and we can cut that sound out. So this is really about training your hand how to sit properly, get footstools, get a nice guitar, have your arm on a proper angle, use your wrist. Anything you teach your body or your hand wrong, it remembers, and it takes a long time to fix it, guys. I've been through it a lot, so I'd hate to see you guys go through it. Holding a pick's important. You don't usually hold it with 2 fingers like that. I mean, you can, and you will be able to play, but the better way is, and the proper way that I consider is the proper way, is on the side of your finger. So you literally put the pick on the side of your finger like that, your thumb comes in and holds the pick, and you don't squeeze too hard, you don't hold it too light so it can just fall out of your hand, but just tight enough that it'll stay there. If you're holding your pick right, your fingers are going to sweat in between and your pick's going to fall out. That happens for about the first few days and then it goes away. Why, I don't know, but all my students have told me that's what happens, and that's what happened to me too, because I used to hold my pick like with 2 fingers like that. It took me forever to fix that. I'd be strumming and my hand would go back to that. And so, like I said, any bad habits, I've been through them. I don't want you guys to go through them. So we got our fingertip on the string, we put our thumb on the back, we push our wrist forward, and then we're just going to try to walk down each string a couple times. Just like that. And do it slow. And teach them hold when you make a change. Now, you want to put this finger on 3. As finger 2's going down, you're lifting 3 up. Now, this is mind control with your hand. It can take a bit, but you do it a little bit and it becomes very easy. Finger 1's going down while finger 2's coming up. So there's a lot of forward, backward thinking when we're doing guitar. Then finger 2 goes down while finger 1 comes up. Finger 3 goes down while finger 2 comes up. And we try to keep them close to the string. We're training our hand right now. There's a lot of other exercises that I'm going to be showing you, but this is a nice first one just to kind of get your hand started. And do it for 10 minutes a day if you want. You could do 20 minutes a day. You could do 10 minutes, take a break, do another 10 minutes. Obviously, the more you do, the better. But again, watch out for these calluses. You need to have calluses on your fingertips to get the sound, because sometimes the string will sit in between your skin if it's not calloused, and it sounds like it's not working. Well, that's just because you've pressed for so long, you've created the groove. Like you can see here in my fingertip, there's a groove there from pressing on the string. And with you guys, the string sits in between the skin now because there's no callus there, and it cuts the sound out. It's not a big deal, but yeah, that stuff's going to happen, but you got to keep playing to build calluses and take your time. So this exercise, once you get moving a little bit, you can start strumming from the 4 string down 4 times. It'd be like 1, 2, and I'm from the 4 string down, so we'd count from the bottom up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the top string 6. So we want to strum from 4 down, and nice and light. I see a lot of people, they're like, when I first start playing, no, it's not about that. It's about trying to play lightly and having a really relaxed right hand wrist too, and just going 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. See, we learn to count too. Counting is important. 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to fret 1, 1, 2, 3. Keep your fingers up and always be thinking ahead. And then you can go back to fret 2. And then you can go back to fret 3 after 4 counts. 4 and 1. Maybe you can't count and play. That's fine too. Then just go through the motions and don't count. You could count along with this video. Use it a little bit. Work along with me, and then you're staying in better time, because I've worked with metronomes for a long time. 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, and then back. So that's one really cool exercise that you guys could definitely start working with if you're just starting out playing. Don't forget to just strum from the 4 string down. These are nice chords. They come, you know, it sounds like a song by the Eagles. I forget the name of it, but it's... I've lost the name of the song. Lion Eyes. Lion Eyes. I had to sing it in my head and get to the chorus. Lion Eyes by the Eagles starts off with the full G chord. But I mean, we can do the basic chord and it still sounds the same, just strumming from the 4 string down. And then we try to hit this C chord. So if you guys got that first exercise down, then we'll move on to the other exercise that I like. We start here on E minor like this. And we're going to basically put fingers 1 on string 5, finger 2 on string 4. And then we're going to try to lift these fingers off of those strings. Don't forget to put our thumb on the back of the guitar, sitting properly, have a footstool. Sitting straight is usually good. Sometimes I slouch, I should be sitting up. It's better for your back, and it's better posture, and it helps your hand to manipulate around the frets and your fingers to manipulate around the frets. So putting your thumb on the back flat on the pad again, we're going to put it on the pad on the back, and we're just going to push our wrist forward a little bit, and we're going to try to bring our fingers up to the top, making sure that we have lots of room between our neck here. We can get a pen or a pencil between our neck right here. We can see that we can get lots of room there, and a pen there, and you know, that way we can reach to the top. If we're like this and trying to get our fingers, it doesn't work. So we try to sit more like that when we first start learning. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to work with our left hand and just lifting and placing these fingers down one string. So we're going to lift them up and drop them down on strings 4 and 3. Another good exercise. And then back up. We're going to hold for a bit because we want to build strength in our hand. We're going to push with our thumb on the back, and we're going to push with our fingers on the front. And then we're going to lift, and we're going to place again back down on strings 3 and 4. So basically these 2 fingers just move down one string. And you try to practice this exercise as much as you can, counting in 4s, doing something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. 2. I would count even slower by starting 3, 4, and 1. And just before you say 1 is when you want to leave the chord, because you want to train your hand to be able to make changes. So this is a great way to do that. So again, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. So the neat thing about playing guitar is we're always thinking ahead. You know, we can't be on this chord and thinking, oh man, I gotta leave in 20 minutes, and I gotta go get my daughter and drive her to school and get the garbage out, and you know, thinking about what's going on, you know, in your life in the next little while. You have to be thinking more like, okay, I'm on E minor, and I gotta change to A sus. So you're thinking about the next chord. 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Once you get that going, 3. And counting out loud's great. 4 ands are always when your foot's up. So start with your foot up when you start the count, and then start a nice slow count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. Always lift and place together. Okay, now we can start strumming once you feel good about that. I'll do some strums. I'll do it for about 2 minutes so that if you want, you can strum along with me on the video. It's a nice slow pace. We want to hear our strings ring. Don't forget you're still building calluses on your fingertips, so don't worry about how great it sounds, but push as hard as you can. And like I said, get an electric if your acoustic's too hard, or get a nicer acoustic, and make sure the actions, try it at the shops before you buy it. Make sure you can do it. I find electrics are really easy for beginners to kind of start building calluses, especially lots of people have sensitive nerves in their fingertips, so it can really hurt pushing. So yeah, make sure that you know you get the proper instrument to get you started. I always start the young kids off with electric guitars because their fingers just kill them. Because we're pushing down steel, we're pushing down a piece of steel onto a piece of wood and expecting our fingers just to do it. Well, that's why we have calluses on our fingertips. Don't forget to sit properly and keep your arm on a nice angle. Don't strum with your arm, strum with your wrist. We talked about how to hold your pick. I'll do a video on that again. And really focusing on putting the pad of your thumb, the pad is this part on the back of the neck, and pushing your wrist just nice and easy forward and curling your fingertips into the fretboard like that. So you'd start off, your pad's on the back of the thumb. You don't have it in front of your fingers. It's just behind your fingers. You push your wrist forward, curl your fingertips into the strings, and check each string and see if they're clear. And if they're not, don't stress about it. It's probably because you need more callus, but if you're holding your hand the right way, sometimes it's nice to swing your wrist back this way and get your fingers to sit up like that. And then you can have this whole look here as opposed to like this. So sometimes when you first start it, for some people, because their fingers can reach better that way, just by swinging your wrist back a bit. But don't be doing things like this with your wrist and trying to get the E minor chord. There's a lot of arguments about that, but this is the proper way to do it. And, you know, sitting right. So now we're going to try to strum in fours, and we're going to do something like 1. First, actually, we should start a count so we know how fast we're going to strum. So when we first start learning, we want to go at a speed that we can think ahead. So while we're strumming in 4, we're thinking about our next chord. We're not thinking about what's happening in the next hour, where I got to be, or any of that stuff. We're focused only on guitar, and all that daily stuff leaves your mind because there's no room for it. And that's a great way of, you know, feeling better after you're done playing, because all the stuff that's going on in your life, you've given your mind a break from it because there's no room. You're counting, you're thinking about changing, and there's just no room to think about it. So you have to be aware of what you're doing and be concentrating. So here would be the exercise. If you're by yourself, you can strum along with me, and it'd be 1, 2, 3. I'm getting ready now. 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll do 4 more. 1. Now I'm thinking about my change. 2, 3. I gotta lift these fingers up after 4 and bring them down a string. 1, 2. Nice and slow, and listen to your strings ring. 3, 4, and 1. Nice light strum, strumming from the 5th string down for this chord. 3. Now we're getting ready to go back up, thinking about E, and 1. So the whole time I'm strumming in 4s, I'm going to do it 2 counts of 4 on this chord. 4, and another count of 4. 1, 2, 3. I'm thinking about my change. 4, and 1. Pick comes down, so it just strums from the 5th string now, because this is an A. We don't want to hear the top string. 4, and 1. Nice light strums, holding your pick right. 2, 3. Oh, we're getting ready for a change again. 4, and back up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 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 1. Even if you just did that for 10 minutes every day, you will build calluses on your fingertips, and you will get the changes going, and there's more of these lessons to come. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and have an awesome day today. Bye for now.